"Get out of my house." My father said it on Christmas Eve, in front of every relative we had, like he was finally taking out the trash. Then he added, "If you end up on the streets tonight, that's on you." For a moment, no one moved. Christmas lights flickered against the windows, reflecting across the long dining table where the Cole family gathered every year. My mother pressed her lips together like she was trying not to smudge her lipstick. My younger sister Lauren stared into her cider, pretending she wasn't smiling. And I just stood there, feeling every eye land on me like I was a stain someone needed to scrub out. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. Instead, I pushed my chair back, slid on my coat, and walked toward the door as quietly as I could. The room behind me stayed still and satisfied, as if the night had finally reached its main event. Outside, snow hammered the porch, stinging my cheeks as I stepped into the cold. But even the winter wind felt warmer than the home I'd just been thrown out of. I walked down the driveway, boots sinking into icy slush, trying to tell myself I shouldn't care. But rejection from strangers is different from rejection by the people who raised you. One wounds the surface. The other reaches bone. By the time I reached my rental car, my hands were shaking. Not from the cold. From knowing they had wanted this. My parents had been whispering for months, hiding mail, avoiding direct conversations with me. Tonight wasn't spontaneous rage. It was planned. The hotel I checked into was warm but painfully quiet. I lay awake listening to the hum of the heater and the distant howl of wind tearing across the parking lot. Back in Vancouver, my condo overlooked the harbor. My company headquarters sat 2 blocks away. My life was stable, successful, mine. But here, in the small town where I grew up, I was reduced to the version of myself they preferred. The disappointment, the misfit, the daughter who never lived up to her potential. The next morning, as I nursed terrible hotel coffee, my phone buzzed. A message from Aunt Denise. "Maddie, I need to tell you something before you fly home." I replied. "What's going on?" "They told everyone at dinner that you have no money and nowhere to go. They said they kicked you out because you refused to take responsibility for your failures." I stared at the screen. It was almost impressive, how quickly they replaced me with a narrative that made them feel righteous. Then she added another message. "And Maddie, they're hiding something. I heard them whispering about loans, extensions, and your name being on paperwork." My stomach tightened. "My name on what?" She hesitated before sending. "I heard Lauren say something about a credit line, and something about the house." The cold I felt then wasn't from winter. I checked out early, drove straight to the airport, and boarded the first flight back to Vancouver. But even as the plane cut through the clouds, one fear gnawed at me. What had they done with my name? The answer found me 12 hours later. An email notification popped up. "Confirmation required for guarantor status." Guarantor. I opened the attachment and felt the blood drain from my face. There it was, a loan contract tied to my parents' house. And beneath it, a credit line connected directly to Lauren's boutique. Both documents carried my signature. A signature I had never written. This wasn't cruelty. This wasn't humiliation. This was fraud. And Christmas Eve was just the beginning. They thought throwing me into the snow would hide the truth. They didn't know I was about to uncover every lie they'd buried under my name. The forged signature stared back at me from my laptop screen. The ink scanned so neatly it almost looked real. Almost. But I knew my own handwriting better than anyone, and whoever forged it had underestimated how closely I would look once the truth reached me. I called the one person who could make sense of this. Noah Reed, my attorney in Vancouver. He didn't even let me finish before saying, "I'm coming over." 30 minutes later, he walked into my condo with his laptop and a seriousness that made my stomach clench. He examined every page, zooming in on signatures, dates, and reference numbers. "This isn't a clerical error," Noah said. "This is a deliberate forgery. They expected you to never see this." I swallowed, the hollow ache rising in my throat. "How much is the house loan for?" $240,000, he replied. "And the boutique credit line is nearly maxed." My heart pounded. "So if they default, the lender goes after the guarantor," Noah said. "Which is legally you." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling as the truth settled. They hadn't thrown me out because they hated me. They'd thrown me out because they needed me gone before the fallout hit. Noah rested his palms on the counter. This is serious, Maddie. You could file charges. Identity fraud. Financial misrepresentation. But first, we need to see how deep this goes. We spent the rest of the day combing through records, emails, and financial statements I hadn't looked at in years. Every thread led to the same pattern. My parents had been sinking for a long time, and Lauren's boutique, which they bragged about endlessly, was draining money faster than it made any. By sunset, Noah found something worse. A collection notice addressed to me, unopened, buried in my spam folder. "They plan to let the debt hit you," he said quietly. "If things collapsed, you would have taken the financial blow." A cold calm washed over me, not anger, not shock, just clarity. They thought if I never knew, I could never fight it. "And now you do know," Noah said. "So what do you want to do?" I looked down at the forged signature again. My parents' neat handwriting above it. My sister's boutique name under it. "I want control," I said. "Every document tied to me, every loan, every agreement. If they dragged me into this, I'm taking the wheel." Noah nodded slowly. "Then we start the process." The next 10 days were a blur of paperwork, calls, forensic analysis, and tense exchanges with the lender. Because my name was on the contracts, I had the right to request full oversight, especially with the loan sliding dangerously close to default. The more Noah dug, the clearer the story became. My family had built their life on borrowed money. Refinished kitchen, borrowed. Lauren's boutique expansion, borrowed. Unexpected vacations, borrowed. And every time they needed a safety net, my forged name rose like a ghost behind their decisions. On the 12th day, Noah called me while I was reviewing design updates at the office. "It's happening," he said. "The mortgage is entering distress. You're first in line to assume controlling interest." The world went quiet around me. 3 weeks ago, they told me to go live on the streets. Now I was about to legally hold the house they valued more than any relationship we ever had. That night, Aunt Denise called. "Maddie, your parents are frantic. They think the bank is coming after them. They've been calling everyone for money. Lauren is terrified." I didn't answer immediately. "They don't know you're involved," she whispered. "They think a lender wants a meeting." I closed my eyes, letting the irony settle. "They should come to that meeting," I said. "All of them. Should I warn them?" she asked. "No," I said quietly. "Just make sure they're there." They thought the lender would walk in to negotiate. They had no idea the person taking control of their future was me. The restaurant's private room was quiet when I arrived, set with soft lighting and a long table covered in white linen. Nothing dramatic, nothing angry, just a space where truth could finally breathe. Noah sat beside me, reviewing the final documents with the kind of calm that made everything feel inevitable. When the door opened, my mother stepped in first. Perfect hair, flawless coat, eyes tight with worry she was trying to hide. My father followed, shoulders stiff, jaw clenched. Lauren entered last, mascara smudged like she'd been crying for hours. None of them greeted me. My mother sat down with a brittle smile. "Maddie, thank you for arranging this meeting with the lender. We're confident this is all a misunderstanding." My father nodded. "Once we explain the situation, I'm sure they'll work with us." Noah closed his folder. "Mr. and Mrs. Cole, I'm not the lender's attorney." My father frowned. "Then why are you here?" Noah slid the first document across the table. "Because Miss Cole is the acquiring party. The mortgage is in distress. She now controls the debt." Silence. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Lauren's breath caught. My father's face drained of color like someone pulled a plug inside him. "You bought our loan," he finally managed. "Why would you do that?" I met his stare without flinching. "Because you put my name on it." My mother shook her head rapidly. "We thought you'd understand. Crystal needed help. We were desperate." "Desperation doesn't justify forgery," I said, "or putting my financial life at risk, or throwing me out in front of the entire family." Lauren snapped suddenly. "You have money. You could have helped us. Why make this so ugly?" I looked at her like I was seeing a stranger. "I'm not the one who made it ugly. I'm the one cleaning it up." Noah slid the next folder toward them. "These are the terms. You have 2 options. Option 1, sell the property and resolve all debt cleanly. Option 2, Miss Cole assumes ownership. You may remain only as tenants under a structured rental agreement. My father's voice cracked. We'd have to rent our own home. No, I said quietly. You'd be renting my home. Lauren glared at me, tears filling her eyes. You're ruining our lives. I shook my head. No, I'm letting you face the consequences of your choices. My mother let out a broken sob. We're your family. How can you do this to us? I leaned forward. The night you threw me out, you told me to go live on the streets. You told everyone I was a failure. You told people I was homeless. But none of that hurt as much as realizing you never saw me as a person, only as a solution you could use without asking. Their expressions shifted from denial to humiliation to something close to fear. I'm not here to punish you, I said. I'm here to separate my life from the mess you created using my name, nothing more. Noah's voice was steady. You have 7 days to decide. The meeting ended quietly. No shouting, no pleas. Just 3 people walking out smaller than they had entered. Lauren paused at the door. You could have saved us, she whispered. I did, I said. Just not the way you expected. When the door closed, the room finally exhaled. I hadn't won anything. I had simply reclaimed what was mine. 7 days later, Noah called. They chose to sell, he said. Your name is cleared. All ties are dissolved. I stood by my condo window overlooking the harbor, watching the lights shimmer against the water. My family wasn't ruined. They weren't homeless. They just had to live within boundaries for the first time in their lives. Crystal's boutique shuttered quietly. My parents downsized into a smaller rental across town. And I finally felt the kind of peace that doesn't ache. Sometimes walking away isn't loss. Sometimes it's the first real victory. If you've ever been underestimated or erased, remember, your story isn't defined by who threw you out, but by who you chose to become after.